Citizens of Tinley Park gathered tonight in a new arena at Andrew High School for the village board meeting that was canceled due to OMA violations last week. On the same day, several Tinley Park taxpayers filed a lawsuit against the trustees and village employees to get to the bottom of zoning code tampering. The citizens showed up by the hundreds to keep the heat on their village officials. A standout speaker of the evening was Michael Fitzgerald of the Citizens of Tinley Park Political Action Group, who confronted trustee T.J. Grady about his inflammatory and untrue statements about the citizens of Tinley Park and its spokesman, Matt Coughlin. A publicly shamed Grady was forced to apologize.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike Fitzgerald. Since the meeting was adjourned last week, I actually considered not getting up here to say what I had prepared to say at last week's board meeting. But considering the content of my message, I felt it would be doing the community and my friend Matt Coughlin a disservice. You see, when an elected official or appointed official misbehaves, I feel that they need to be called on it because they represent us, their constituents. So that being said, I am standing here to clear up any misunderstandings related to the actions of one of the trustees at the Committee of the Whole meeting, not yesterday, but March 8th, 2016, 2 weeks ago. Trustee Grady, I wanted to give you a chance to correct yourself for the record, because at the Committee of the Whole meeting on March 8th, you were videotaped saying something that not only blatantly misquoted somebody, but was what I consider a blatant attempt to try and make your constituents look bad. So here are Trustee Grady's words on that evening, and I quote, "The bottom line is, they didn't want the reserve. And it was said by Mr. Coughlin or Coughlin or whatever his name is the first night, is because those kids are going to come in our schools, and we don't want to pay for their free lunches, and we don't want, so we understand what the reason is you don't want the reserve built. So don't come in here and talk about things and try to tell us it's all about transparency, because it is not." End quote. That was an exact quote from episode 39 of the Tinley Park Low-Income Housing Scandal video series that can be found on YouTube. For reference, it was said between the 1 minute and 47-second mark and the 2 minute and 28-second mark. I will now read the quote that I believe you were referring to, and this quote can be found on the same series in episode 2. Between the 1 minute and 6-second mark and the 1 minute and 50-second mark. And I quote, "I've been doing this for 26 years in various communities, and I recognize what was said tonight has nothing to do about the real estate. It's really about potentially the people. We looked at Tinley Park for a lot of reasons. As a development partner with Buckeye, we're long-term real estate investors. The most important aspect that I see this evening is that we follow the codes that you publicly published." End quote. Also in the same episode, video 2, from the 7:38 to the 7:44 point, there was another caption, or another quote by the same person, and it reads like this, and I quote, "So it seems like really that the discussion is about the people and not the property, which is where my point is going." End quote. I think everybody here knows that those words were obviously said by none other than David Petroni. Repeat, David Petroni, not Matt Coughlin. David Petroni of the Buckeye Community Hope Foundation to make Tinley Park citizens look bad. So as everyone can see, it was him that Trustee Grady was referring to, and not Mr. Coughlin. Now, in order to further set the record straight, Trustee Grady, this is what was actually said by Matt Coughlin, pronounced Coughlin, while addressing the board and Mr. Petrino during public comment at the February 2nd board meeting. And I quote, "Don't let anyone shame you into thinking you're not doing your part. As a community, we do more than our part, and we always will, okay? This is nonsense that someone would come in here and make us feel bad. We already have a lot of affordable housing in Tinley Park today. Trustee Vandenberg gave some really great stats earlier about the amount of Tinley Park residents that already represent that threshold. And have we ever balked about making sure that children have lunches at schools? Have we ever complained about that as a community? So for them to come in here and try to make this a grandstand on the fact that we are not prepared to help our fellow citizens is quite honestly garbage, end quote. That was on episode 4 of the Tinley Park low-income housing scandal video series, from the 6-minute and 59-second point to the 7-minute and 56-second point of the video. So, for the record, to be crystal clear, Matt Coughlin did not say what Trustee Grady said he did. It may have been a mistake, or it may have been a blatant attempt at defamation. In any case, I want to give Trustee Grady the opportunity to explain his actions and possibly consider reaching out to Matt personally and apologizing to him. Thank you.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing in this whole process is this has become personal. I'm not a Facebook person, but I do have people that tell me some of the things that go on the Facebook page. I apologize, Mr. Coughlin. I believe I was referencing the fact that you brought up the lunch program. But because of the personal attacks, I kind of took a defensive mode. And the unfortunate thing is, the people sitting out here don't realize that, I'm going to say the gentleman up here did a lot prior to this perceived mistake, okay? And that's what I'm going to leave it at right now. See, that's the problem. We're not in 6th grade. You want to sit there and just shoot off comments, it doesn't help the process. So, it was brought up about the cell phone towers. And the remedy there was to get a small committee of people to sit down with the board. And in that particular situation, that was an agreement between AT&T and the school board. We were just performing a perfunctory role in approving that. But we involved ourselves with a small group of concerned citizens. What this has become now is become a burdensome process, and what we're trying to do to get the things going that you would like to see happen. Okay? So I hope that the meeting on Thursday night that brings the smaller group together will allow for some viable conversation to take place, and maybe we can get through some of these issues. So, Mr. Coughlin, again, I offer my apology. I will talk to you in person. I thought about reaching out to you even before that night and before I took an emotional stand there, because I believe you, as a reasonable person, and I could have a very positive conversation.
First of all, I'd just say that's fine. I do accept your apology. However, I do think it's important that we don't view the participation of all these people in the room as a burden. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you for being in the arena, because I'm just going to bring us back to 60 days ago. There was going to be a vote for the building to be built, and it would already be under construction. Ground would have been broken by now, and none of you would have known. Okay? So let's just make sure we're basically on track. This morning I spoke with a woman journalist who covers stories like this one for a living. She remarked that in the many years she's been doing this, she has never seen citizens mobilize so quickly, so passionately, and in such an organized way to stop what they believe to be an injustice. It made me think, how did this occur? First, the conditions had to be just right for this many people to want to engage. Most of the people in this auditorium are here because they have witnessed an inequity in the way that their taxes have increased at a much faster rate than their home values, and the projects that city employees spend their time, energy, and effort on don't aim to remedy that inequity, but widen the gap. Simply put, we elect people and hire you to be stewards of our town with our best interest at heart. Secondly, you have to have a plan. When we started an effort to make our fellow citizens aware, we said we need to reach everyone, young and old, online or not, with our message. With that in mind, on a volunteer basis, all of us being full-time employees and participants in other jobs, We were able to, in 60 days again, raise the funds to produce thousands of lawn signs, thousands of informational door hangers, put banners all over the town. We created a website that is streaming this right now to the citizens in their home. We created... We rallied together in numbers just like this here tonight to make our presence known. Let's contrast that to the city, where nearly $1 million in annual salary and benefits are committed to a small group of employees who either have the term manager or planner in their title and have been in the position for years. Well, you may say that seems like a lot of salary to be dedicated to keep these people, but they're responsible for an awful lot. As an example, who else would actually put together the strategic plan to draw vapor shops, gambling cafes, pawn shops, and furniture rental centers to our town? So for all of you sitting here tonight, make no mistake, there is no plan. And that is why the conditions are right for this type of unrest. What is also abundantly clear is that there is no accountability to plan and executing against a strategic set of imperatives to meet the needs of the people in this room. Do you know of any situation where a large group of people with no plan, no organization, no accountability have achieved anything of note? Neither do I. So let me set a first plan in place in which I will enlist everyone in this room and at home's help. Let's plan to hold this group accountable for meeting our needs and making Tinley Park a great place to live. The plan is anyone who cannot demonstrate progress along those lines, then we will replace them. I'm going to make it very clear where we're at. And I'll ask Clerk Ray for the exact date. But we're in a very special time right now in terms of what our city does from a planning perspective. Actually, our appointments occur on what date?
Around May 1st.
When?
May 1st.
Okay, May 1st. So we're within, let's say, a 60-day window of determining who our village manager ought to be, who our assistant village managers ought to be, who's responsible for planning, who's responsible for economic development. Your taxes are a function of the work that these people are supposed to be doing to create an environment where businesses want to come here, where your taxes actually don't go up at a pace faster than your home value. If you compare and contrast, and one thing I would say to Trustee Grady is, I would love to see the internal audit also compare and contrast some sort of effective comparison of our employees versus other municipalities in terms of what we're paying and what we're actually getting out of it. The other part of this is, for all of you sitting at the side tables, earn your keep or pack your bags. Because we are capable. We have capable, passionate residents of Tinley who will earn their keep. Next election season starts right here, right now, for everyone on that stage. Because if you can't make the progress we wish, then I wish you the best of luck in your next endeavor, which will not be on that stage.
The citizens of Tinley Park have laid down the gauntlet. There's new leadership in town with a new plan, and these guys, they're on notice.